Terima kasih Aisyah.
Sama-sama Prof.
Okey, pada hari ini kita akan memulakan Seminar Topical Siri 2021 Work with Suria WWS Qual Research. Bersama-sama dengan kita adalah panel yang tidak asing lagi, iaitu Prof Suria Baba, Director ataupun Pengarah daripada Pusat Kecemerlangan dan Pembangunan Staff Universiti Malaysia Kelantan. Untuk memberkati series kita yang saya dengan ini mempersilakan Ustaz Zaki selaku Ketua Unit Inovasi yang baru di Pusat Kecemerlangan untuk membacakan doa.
الفاتحة. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. اللهم افتح علينا حكمتك وانشر علينا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم لا سهل إلا ما جعلته سهلا وأنت تجعل الحزن إذا شئت سهلا. اللهم إنا نسألك علما نافعا ورزقا طيبا وعملا متقبلا. ربنا آتنا من لدنك رحمة وهيئ لنا من أمرنا رشدا. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. وصلى الله على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. تقبل الله منكم.
Amin, amin ya rabbal alamin. Tanpa membuang masa, saya dengan ini mempersilakan Prof. Dr. Suria binti Baba untuk meneruskan sesi, iaitu pada hari ini topik yang pertama iaitu Designing Qual Research. Dengan ini saya mempersilakan Prof. Please Prof, the floor is yours.
Ya. Baik, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh dan salam sejahtera semua. Good morning everyone. Everyone clear? Can you all hear me?
Good morning.
Morning, Prof.
Good
Morning, yeah.
Alhamdulillah.
Well, ya, sihat. Alhamdulillah. Mok cik tua kan? Okay. Alright. I'm so glad that I'm able to make time for you all this morning, and you able to make time for our Seminal Topical series, the whole of the entire how to run to conduct qualitative research. And for your information, this will be the first topical, the first seminal from our 6th series, and I hope you will stay put until August. Okay, our staff has already circulated the e-banner, and I hope we will meet 5 more times ahead of this series. Okay, untuk PM Najmi, terima kasih. I'm very glad that many able to join, insyaAllah. Baik, and I see many familiar faces to me. I have current members, my former secretary, Dr. Anissa. How are you, Dr. Anissa?
Fine, Prof. Nice to meet you.
Okay, thank you for joining. I saw my former student from Universiti Malaya. Thank you for joining. I saw from UPM. I saw from Sabah and Sarawak. Okay, we had a few sessions with UMS and Unimas recently. Well, I have been stoning myself not talking about qualitative research for the past few years since I've moved to Kelantan, UMK, but I was very active in Qualitative Research Association Malaysia as a president, and of course there are a lot of activities done by QRAM, but after I fully retired November 2020, but I'm back here again on the stream, on the mainstream, back for another 2 years, and I think this is the best time for me to share my little experience as qualitative research for the past 25 to 30 years. Okay, I would not take so much time introducing myself, but I'm more like bringing everyone to zero in your understanding on how we able to understand how do we conduct and design our qualitative research. And we have the chat room at the side of our, or at the side box, at the sidebar. You can just write in whenever you feel like to interrupt me. There will be a chat bot there. Then if you feel like that part is so critical that you need to understand, you just press the hands up button, okay? Or the finger button, okay. Well, I just want to know, are you all qualitative research practitioner? Are you all a practitioner? I just want to know. Or you just wanted to scout through what is qualitative research? Or how far have you been in this environment? May I get few answers? Thank you, my friend from Indonesia. Welcome. Okay. How was your how was the practicings of Qual research in your study, in your research practices? Are you all partly practicing mostly? Some of you are. Yeah, I understand that many of you here are in the process of learning. Yeah, and of course, quite a number of you those who are involved in Qual for many years. Yeah, okay. Like that's why I have been cleaning up my presentation, my slides into a very simple that the initial practitioner who wish to understand into conducting Qual research will understand fully on how research should be done. Okay, all right. Basically, when we have to design qualitative research, back in our mind, we need to understand that it is totally the other side of quant research. Yeah, I know many of you are very bound towards quantitative research. If you feel like you want to step into quant research, you need to really put yourself down, knowing that quant research is something like you are asking experts, you are getting expert information that you want to know the phenomena that they are experiencing. If you want to know more, there are few good article. Dr. Anissa, if you like to just pop into if I miss anything. Anissa was my secretary for QRAM for many years.
Prof is my sifu for my
we are similar. Okay, if you could, there are few very prominent qualitative research pieces. I would like to say something that you should refer, like. The one who does qualitative research, which has been there for long, looking at the Balinese who observe, who were the ethnographer, looking at how the Balinese people in one of the remote village in Bali, who watch how they are the cockfighter. You know how he does the research in the perspective of the Balinese people. So he is the ethnographer, and he able to bring the story, transpire the story that when we read, the pieces, when we read the piece of his work, it seems that we are in the scenario, in the situation. Yeah. So basically, qualitative research is actually more like into understanding, yeah, into understanding the whole entire story, the entire experience of the person that you are studying, or the phenomena you are studying, or the cases you are studying. So everyone know that research is something that you need to investigate, you need to understand, you need to explore, which is something unsimilar to quant, that you need to estimate, you need to identify, you need to project, and so forth. So qualitative research is something that we able to know further. Yeah. So of course, this is something that the convention of doing research, sort of what topic of your concern, what are the specific problem that you want to seek for, how do you gather the information relevant to the problem. Of course, when you have this humongous data, I would like to say humongous data in qualitative research is something that you have to bear, because when you are at the fieldwork, when you are at the fieldwork, you are facing a humongous data, but you need to know which are the suitable information that can actually answer your problem. Yeah. Okay. Then, of course, when you got your data, you need to do your analysis. During your fieldwork, you need to do your analysis. After recurring process, you're able to get the finding. And of course, I would like to go through some design. Some of us here have the experience in conducting experimental, descriptive, historical, philosophical, and qualitative inquiry. So these are the body of qualitative research where we put it as epistemological. Epistemological is a Greek word. It's a Greek word. It's a Latin word, come from epistome. Epistome meaning body, body of knowledge. Ilmu, tubuh ilmu. Jadi dari sudut perspektif tubuh ilmu yang dilihat atau from the perspective of positivist, interpretive, critical, and postmodern structural. So they have purpose, they have types, they have reality. So some of us here are in the discipline of nursing. Some of us here are in the medical discipline, or maybe we are humanities discipline practitioner, or maybe we are from the social sciences background, or now there are people who came from business background, accounting background, engineering background. There are people who come from IT who wanted to know more about the phenomena they are facing. So these are some epistemological perspective that you could choose, which best suits into the problem that you are going to conduct. Okay. And of course, I would like to convey from Van Manen, 1979. I will always refer back to him, So he has quoted that qualitative research is an umbrella term covering an array of interpretive techniques which seeks to describe, to decode, to translate, and otherwise come to. Yeah, meaning to say, we seek for, we explore, we investigate, we want to understand. Yeah, so we're able to describe, we're able to explain, we're able to put understanding about the phenomena of the study that we are undergoing. And we have, as a qualitative researcher, I would like to make a stand. I would like to advise you that we have to practice an emic perspective, EMIC, not ethic perspective. Emic, meaning to say, you bring the story, the real story of the phenomenon or the cases that you are looking at, not from your eyes, not from your own understanding, not from your interpretation, not from your not from what you wanted it to be, but you have to be fair. You have to pay justice that you are bringing the story of the real phenomenon that you're studying. So that's why when you want to step into qualitative world, there are few things that you need to upskill. One, be a pure observer. Be a pure negotiator. You need to upskill your disclosing techniques. There's a lot that in counseling skills, there's various skills that you need to understand, because it's just not like you go and observe, you go and interview, you got the data and that's it. No. It has to be fair to your the phenomenon that you study, the cases that you are looking at. You have to be fair to bring the real story and to transpire the story and to put the story in a real situation. That's why we need to practice emic perspective, not actic perspective. And of course, there are characteristics that we need to understand. Some of the characteristics. Yes, tak nampak.
Sorry. Can you please maximize the slide?
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Can you see now? Is it okay? All right, good. All right, thank you, Aisha. All right, few characteristics that you need to really understand and you need to adapt. Yeah, qualitative research from few perspective compared to quantitative. Qualitative research nature dia is naturalistic and grounded, flexible, evolving. Meaning to say, you have sort of wanted to understand the phenomena of what you want to study. For example, well, now we are still in the position of MCO, like Klang Valley are already EMCO, and some states has been awarded into Zone 2 and so forth. Okay, so what is it like to be EMCO? What is it like to be in MCO? When we talk about this MCO, we are in the environment of higher education. We talk about we as a student, or we are as lecturer educators, how do we deliver our teaching lesson, our lesson. So the only bridge that we're able to reach our student is using online. So how is it like to be a student in online learning? How is it like to be an educator delivering your material? You able to bring your student to be actively participating in your lesson, in your teaching. So it should be realistic, grounded, and flexible. Why I say flexible? You might have some list you have some list. You have already listed few of scenarios that, as an educator, these are the list that you has experienced as an educator delivering your material on online. But is that enough? Is that what it is as educators delivering online learning? So you want to understand more. So that's why you carry your study and you have your sample cases that you need to understand more. So that's why they call it flexible compared to quantitative study. They are counting, they are statistical, there are numbers, there are numerics that need to support the data. So they are predetermined and they only do the testing whether what they have already predetermined is yes or no. Yeah. On the phenomenology side, the qualitative research, the phenomenology, you have to understand, but that's why the numbers are big. But for the Qual research, number is small and non-random. You have to choose your respondent. You have to choose your your case, in a small number, so that you're able to understand the whole pictures of what you want to really you are going to know about it. And of course, this is something that I always emphasize to my student when I develop construct a qualitative research. You must have a rich data. This is something that you cannot compromise. Rich and thick. These are something that we cannot let off. Rich and thick data, whereby with the rich and thick data, you're able to get the full pictures of what you really want to study. Of course, from the perspective of positivism, there are numbers, a big number, prediction, and can be controlled. And during your field work, you sort of like you have your own framework, that you have maybe you have read, you understand, or from your experience or forth. It's just different from ethnography, grounded theory, where grounded theory, as a grounded theory practitioner, you go theories. You go to the field with zero understanding, that you wanted to understand. You wanted to understand. But other than grounded theory, the process will be a little bit more like inductive. Meaning to say, you induce data from what you observe, from what you have note, from what you have interviewed. So it should be in inductive way. So you have your own protocols that you wanted to induce the data from what you observe and how from what you have interviews. So from there you collect, and of course the number will increase as you go on for some period of time until your data has come to the saturation point. It is opposite side in the experimental survey using quant. It is more like hypothesis testing and deductive. Right. I have already actually shape up design in qualitative research. It has something like 5 elements. I think I have explained a few of these elements before shortly. One, you need to clarify situations and phenomena when operative variable unclear. Meaning to say, you wanted to understand how does a higher education student at tertiary level learn during MCO using online learning, especially from very deep practices of psychomotor. I got a call very early this morning at 7:30 from one of the deputy deans asking, how do I make adjustment on our student in the area of architecture doing their psychomotor assessment. So because they got triggered that why did the student is not performing in the psychomotor form? Maybe the way they teach, or maybe the way they assess the student. So we have sort of discussed, even it's not I did not have much time, but it's about half an hour the discussion goes. Then we have to understand. So this is something that maybe we want. It triggers to the lecturers of this discipline to understand how does the student who are very much involved or very much towards psychomotor skills, how did they study online? Everyone now talking about how to build skills if you did not able to hold something concrete. So in that case, we carry research. So the numbers that we need is small, so that it will represent the story or the phenomenon that we are seeking for. Number 2, why do we have to determine why intervention has unanticipated effects? Meaning to say, we need to understand the phenomena and what are the intervention occurs. This is very important. Number 3, fresh way to look at over familiar problems. Okay, many of us here has the experience hop in and hop out from MRT or LRT, right? If you are in Klang Valley. And have you ever observed the flow of passengers in and out of LRT, MRT? Or you don't bother? Or maybe you are a person who observe about characteristic of people hop in and hop out from this light railway. So basically, during peak time, morning or evening, people will rush. Yeah, people will queue so that they can get into to their destination in time. So this is something that people or the observer will like to know more. So is that only pop in or hop out, or maybe there are something in between that they need to understand more? So that's why they need to have small sample cases or respondent that able to give the understand more. I have one experience. In one time, I was being approached by one PhD student who does her study at the street of high street in France. No? Her area is more on fashion. Yeah, she need to study the fashion of Paris high street. Yeah, but she was her proposal was her result was rejected because she did not has enough data from the site that she has taken. The observation was a lot. She interviews as many people who walks at the high street, but the numbers does not actually represent the whole story. Yeah, because the interviews goes to many people who was not able to represent the saturation point. What I mean is that she has heard over respondent that she interviewed for that period of time, but it does not portray the rich and thick of the data. So that is very important. So her thesis was rejected because it doesn't reflect the study from the qualitative perspective. Number 4, understand how tasks, policies, roles, and other systemic elements are perceived by participants. This has been addressed many times that I put the word EMIC, E-M-I-C. As a qualitative practitioner, you have to be fair to your respondent, to the report that you are going to share to the public. If you miss certain important points that you reported, it actually you need to bring the real story, the real situation of the cases that you have studied. And the last part, from there, you're able to create or build your own perspective from the data that you have gathered, you have analyzed, you interpret, you're able to build a theory, and of course later on to build your own thought. All right, characteristic of qualitative research. Of course, search for understanding meaning, which I've already addressed many times. Interest in the process. Okay, I would like to give more emphasis on this part. Many of you here, I understood that I believe that you have gone through several times in doing qualitative research, and there are some characteristics on looking at the process. It is not a linear process, but it is an iterative process, meaning that you go and forth. Finally, your data is saturated. Qual, G-A-L-L, has addressed 4 elements of how saturated being considered. The first, number 1, is that your data has come to the point that your respondent has been repetitively saying the same similar things. For example, you are observing a person, you are researching of a society, a community, that it was the similar things occurs, and it seems there are polar atau pattern. So if there's a pattern that occurs many times, and that's it. So from the iterative process, you're able to know that this is your data that you are going to represent in your report. So it is not linear, it is an iterative process. Yeah. Of course, you have instrument in your quantitative data. You have your survey, you have your protocols and so forth. But in qualitative research, we are the primary instrument. But we need to practice justice, fairness, non-bias, because these are some characteristics that you need to really adapt and adopt, because you are actually representing, you are putting people's cases, phenomenon into your reporting. So how to become non-biased, non-judgmental? You have your own framework that you might get it from theories that you have developed, model that you have gotten, maybe from your theoretical framework, able to help you to become a non-judgmental researcher. So we are, as qualitative researcher, you need to practice a very high ethical researcher. Next, of course, it has to be natural settings. You have to be in the fieldwork. I would like to advise, if you are doing your PhD, during your fieldwork, there's two things that you have to do. Yeah, prepare your physical, your facilities that you need to have during your fieldwork. And of course, now with the pandemic, I know you are struggling. I feel sorry for you all who are doing your fieldwork at this point of time. But I know you have a struggle, and you are able to find ways in helping out. So it involves fieldwork and natural setting. Yeah, and of course, mentally prepared. I have students who did not have who did not prepare well. Yeah, this was my early stage when I supervised the person. There's no such way of going back to the country. For example, foreign student, go back to the country, pick up all the data, and come back back to Malaysia, and only you analyze. This is something very wrong. Yeah. The process of doing your fieldwork study is that you need to prepare mentally, physical, because during this time you need to observe, you need to interview, you need to make notes, you need to extend your notes and so forth. At the same time, the analysis takes place, because the process of iterative goes and forth will give you a rich data until your data will present the pattern. This is very important. Yeah, there's no such thing going to fieldwork, then finish your 3 months at your fieldwork, then come back and do your analysis. No such thing. The process must be done together. Yeah. Okay. Of course, qualitative research need to do a lot of description, and the process is inductive. I would like to go through a little bit, a very short and brief on the differences between both. Quanti, looking at the relationship between types of learning activities, for example, but Quali is more like you want to understand how rural location shape the learning activities of adults. So these are the first differences. Quant look at strategies teachers prefer to use in handling classroom discipline using survey. But Qual, from the perspective of Qual, is to look how teachers negotiate the resolutions of classroom discipline problem. So you can see the difference from not only from the understanding of it, but the way we write between both. Yeah. Number 3, the Qual look at the relationship again. Yeah, how and how. Yeah, but in Qual, you are looking. You want to understand the practices of a person in an organisation. You want to understand, nak faham proses dia, nak faham apa yang dimasukkan dengan as a facilitator in an organisation, to understand. And number 4, Quant more like doing survey, and Qual is more like looking from your academic perspective. And number 5, Quant would like to look at choices, yeah, and they will identify. They need to identify. They need to make an estimation and so forth. But in Qual again, we will go to the ground and looking at on how we wanted to understand how learners' perceptions on online learning at remote learning. This okay, all right. Qualitative research studies in the career development, how culture shape the learning activities of older adult in Malaysia. So these are how you create the research question. And of course, these are some of how you construct your research statement. Yeah. Okay. I just repeat again that these are some major types of qualitative studies: descriptive, basic, generic, grounded theory, ethnography, phenomenology, case study, narrative analysis. I know many PhD students here, you are more like to do case study, and like nursing student, they are more like on phenomenology. And of course, as a PhD student, I'm not sure any of you here are bound to do grounded theory, but I have experienced once supervising a student who does grounded theory on homeless student, but it was tough. It was very tough. Yeah, right. These are some techniques. I would like to emphasize. Some scholars said method, some scholars say approaches, but for me, I prefer it as technique in data collection. You know, you have technique in interviews, you have technique on observation, you have notes, documents, archive material that you're able to seek for more information from these materials. Okay, all right. Of course, sample selection, they are non-random. They are not random. You would like, usually in your methodology part, either you are a PhD student who are doing a proposal for the first 3 chapters. Yeah. First, you will address this chapter, will discuss further on 1, design. So design, qualitative study, focusing on case. Okay, then you go for the next thing is your sample size, or your sample that you are going to use. So you say it will be on purposeful or purposive sampling. And of course, the next one, data collection using the 3 techniques. Data analysis, you would like to use manually, or you would like to use CADAS, computer-aided qualitative data analysis software, which I used to have is on NVivo, and many use Atlas Dye, and many more. Yeah, and you can able to have numbers that would represent your study. Yeah, and of course, you need to develop the practices being non-judgmental practitioner, and able to you able to come towards pattern, whereby pattern will actually represent the saturations of your data. Yeah, right. These are the competencies that you need to develop. A questioning stance, meaning that you need to learn skills in listening skills. For example, especially those who came from counseling background, they are or from nursing background, or medical background, they used to do rounds, rota. They need to get information clearly. So you need to learn to how to question, to how to learn to be actively, you need to have active listening. This is very important because you might not get the important part of your respondent if you did not have these listening skills well. And you need to learn to be patient, and you need to learn to have disclosing skills because you might have a chatty respondent, who love to tell everything, but you might have a respondent who doesn't want to say anything. I have experienced both, but from my experience, orang Malaysia ni suka di-interview sebab selalu kita pergi interview di kampung-kampung, dia akan dapat token kan. So kalau seorang dapat token, dapat hadiah, dapat duit, so the whole kampung will come after you. I remember when I did my kajian di Pahang Barat, West Pahang, involving Raut, Bentong, and Lipis, di kawasan kajian sekolah orang asli, imagine you pergi sekolah asli, diorang tak mandi, tak apa, you can imagine that, and they love to crowd around you, imagine tak mandi kita pergi, then of course you have to bear with that. And of course they love to be interviewed because they want to have that some token back, Kemudian you have to have high tolerance of ambiguity. Is this data good for you? Is this data suitable for your question? Is this data suitable for your study? Because you are facing a humongous data. And I was very fortunate during my PhD period. I was able to secure myself from taking any data in front of me. My husband give me the whole room that I'm able to, because masa tu tak adalah software yang canggih. I use masa tu lepas new disk kita ada Envivo. It was a very simple. I must thank Pat Beasley. I got the knowledge from Prof Noria from UKM. I got from Pat Beasley itself. She was the developer of Qual, Kaldas of Envivo. So when I ship up my report, I'm able not to throw into the bin. Basically, what I wanted to know, I have prepared my protocol for my interviews, I prepared my protocol for my observation note, I prepared my protocol on my document. So I was very lucky. About 90% of my data was in my report. That is very, very important. Next thing, being very careful and observer and asking good question. How do you know being a good question? We have to have session on this. Saya di Kelantan, so one thing, when I first arrived in Kelantan, I stay in Pacok, then I moved to Kota Baru, Pekalan Cepa. I observe how makcik-makcik di pasar Jelawat able to attract us. As a qualitative researcher, I observe from my own perspective. You have already anticipated what you want to buy at that particular morning for your weekly grocery. I want to buy this. This is my list. But when you enter pasar Jelawat, you it's so interesting. You might not want the thing, but the way they approach you, there are some attraction among makcik-makcik di pasar itu. Basically, most of people here are very humble, and they are very approachable. Something that I noticed, that when I pass from each stall to each stall, they will say they have some statements. Ambil tu, beli tu. So as a practitioner, I step back and I try to listen actually what actually they utter from this makcik. Rupanya dia nak attract you, they have something like calling you, cometa, meaning that when you listen to it, she is inviting you to come and see what juadah or what delicacies or kuih-kuih that she is having on her table, you know. So back to asking good question is that when you are in the field work, this is something that you need to practice. You have your protocol. Your supervisor or your superior has already checked your question in your protocol, but when you deliver the question, you should be able to be more tactful. If you are researching or you questioning high profile or professional, well, you can use your protocol straight away. But if you are actually trying to get answer from pakcik, makcik di kampung, or even my experience dengan pelajar, murid-murid sekolah atau cikgu-cikgu di kawasan orang asli, you cannot say, makcik, apa khabar? Bolehkah makcik menjawab soalan saya? Or cikgu, or adik-adik, bolehkah menjawab? No. You need to train yourself into their native language or their daily language. It's not simple because if you are very straightforward from your protocols and you straightforward deliver your question, you might not get the answer. Yeah, so I know Prof Khatijah is here. Kalau Prof Khatijah dia memang cerdik lah bila menyoal tu. Seorang tak nak cakap jadi boleh cakap Prof Khatijah. Okay, thinking inductively meaning that have your protocol ready and you need to do a lot of induction when you are at the field work. That's why I say it is an iterative process because you must capture what are the practices of that phenomena you are studying. Then you have to induce, put your notes from your interviews, put your observation note and combine, and you try to critically think about it and you put into your words without losing any important facts. Meaning to say, the next round or the next day that you go again to your fieldwork, you might miss certain point that you need to ask back. Adakah betul? Bolehkah saya dapatkan, can I have more information? Bolehkah diberikan pelanjutan atau apakah perkara ini benar atau tidak? So, meaning to say you need to be very critical. That's why I said earlier that you should not do your fieldwork hand only on collecting data, but you need to do both. So this is where the inductive thinking occur, because when you do your reporting, you're able to have this data that will perfectly fit into what you have discovered. And of course, this will lead into your way of comforting your writing. Okay, it's nearly 11. Research problem. Here you have your personal experience, you might deduct from theory, you might have related literature, or there are some current issues that trigger you, or you might want to solve some practical situation in your workplace and so forth. Okay, you need to identify a topic, must be genuine, feasible. Okay, I would like to say feasibility. For example, I have a person who wanted to study di penjara, di prison. It's very difficult, and of course there are a lot of rules that should be addressed before. And of course, I have some experience interview a student who was in the Ward 5 UH yang perlu dikaji. It was another difficult time to interview a person who under our doctor observation. So of course you have to be very significant to get answer. Of course there are some there are some important elements or issue that when you develop your theoretical framework, this should be the underlying structure that scaffold or frame your study. You can't just have your research done without your framework of your study. Of course, I would like to advise in this part, you have your theories, you have your classic theory, you have micro theory, you have mid-range theory, and you have model. Maybe you have models that you that you have discovered that this model will fit into your study. So take all the elements from this theory, from this model, conceptualize the principles, and you're able to construct your protocols. You're able to develop your construct. So from this construct, it will actually represent your framework. Yeah. Of course, Maxwell has always emphasized the theoretical framework is a system of concepts and theory that support and inform your research. This is well known to others. It can be also distinguished from one epistemological perspective to another. And of course, this will take some time to talk about, but theoretical framework is your discipline orientation, which I have addressed earlier. You have studied, you have researched, you have read a lot of theory that fits into your study. You have already captured a few models, or maybe a few concepts, or maybe a few formulas that you're able to conceptualize, then you develop your own construct. Yeah, this is very important. Okay, for example, teachers' belief versus behavior and so forth. Right, the problem statement, I will have this next session. They will be very interesting on how you develop your statement or problem in your designing of your research. Three important element: gap of knowledge, significance, and the context of your study. So that's one. I have one more. Najmi, any question there? Any question? Hello?
They don't have any question.
If I just can go through one more. Did you all see it or not? No? Nampak tak?
No.
No, okay.
Prof.
Okay,
Prof.
meanwhile, I would like to have this one, but it's more like, nampak tak ni?
Belum.
Belum, dah.
Prof, ada satu soalan from Stasha. Some people in qualitative area say that if your observation, you need to support each other's data collection methods such as interview to avoid bias report. Is it true?
Yeah. Basically, if you are doing a case study, depend on your selection of case study. Asha, you are looking at Dr. Asha, you are looking at the case study, right? It could be single site, single case, single site, multi case, or multi-site, multi-case. Yeah. Kalau single site, single case, meaning to say you only have that particular case and site. So you need to have various techniques, which is interviews, observation, and also you can also have document to support you. But if you have multi-case, multi-site, so you have numbers of cases or sample that will represent, just to avoid, because this is triangulation technique, so that you're able to represent, you're able to present your data which presenting the whole phenomena. I will talk about validity and reliability in qualitative research in few more series later on. Okay, Aisha?
Okay, thank you, Prof.
Thank you, welcome. Okay, any more? Tak ada nak soal? Or it was just plain to understand?
Assalamualaikum, Prof.
Assalamualaikum,
Prof.
Ya, siapa tu?
Rasdan, UMK.
Prof.
Prof.
Okay.
Thank you, Prof, for the sharing. Actually, I'm sorry, I'm a little bit late. I have to wait for 10 minutes before the committee allow me to enter your course earlier lah, which is at 10.
Sorry, Prof.
So it's okay, Prof. Actually, I need to present to GPU. So
okay, please go on.
But I'm really interested to attend. I'm really interested to.
Yes, Prof. Rasdan.
Study or years.
A little bit breaking.
I attend 1 week course for qualitative. Oh, okay. Sorry. I attended qualitative course 1 week, if I'm not mistaken, way back 2007. That was in UKM last time. Then I was being introduced to Turnitin. So Turnitin software. All right. So just want to ask your opinion, Prof. Suria, whether the current qualitative is that nowadays the direction of qualitative in the research is they are currently still using not the Turnitin, they call what Unvivo. Are they still using that?
Okay, yeah. Okay, Prof. Rashdan.
Thank you, Prof. Sorry for the interruption.
Someone has to, okay, thank you. Prof. Rashdan, I think it's more, not Turnitin. Turnitin will be the plagiarism software. And Vivo comes from Nudis. I've experienced using Nudis. Then it comes to Envivo 1. Now we have more. There are Envivo 12, I think. And I met Pat Besley, who came to Malaysia, and I've got my lesson from Prof. Noria, Prof. Suria from UKM. It was my sifu too. And later on, I was being able to be appointed as Asia Pacific consultant, and have done a lot of training under the StatWorks. Yeah. So Envivo is considered under CAQDAS, CAQDS. Maybe in my e-banner there are CAQDAS. Some people call CAQDAS. Computer aided qualitative data analysis software. There are Envivo, there are Nudis, and many more. So I think in Malaysia is very popular, Envivo and Nudis, and it is a software that able to support your humongous data. And actually software tak ada feeling kan, kita yang bagi feeling kat dia, yeah, but it really helps. Okay, Prof. Rashdan, I think you have to go for your presentation. We'll talk more when we meet.
Thank you, Prof.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Rashdan, for your
Prof.
time. You are so busy, you're able to join. Okay, thank you, Prof. Rashdan. Okay, right. Dr. Prof.
Thank you.
PM Najmi, yeah, welcome. Is my sharing
Yes, Prof.
there? Yeah, ada.
Yes.
Okay, I just want to have few more minutes. I'm able to share some qualitative approach. How do we write our qualitative statement? You need to use a lot of word like understand. You need to look for word to seek for, to explore, to investigate, so that you're able to learn the experience, the real experience of your cases. So it's so different between Qual, because Qual is more like to identify. We did not identify. We want to understand. We want to learn. We want to know the situation. Yeah. So this is very important. Okay. Right. Criteria I've addressed earlier. You are the experts. They are the experts. We are not the expert. We want to learn from them. The participant must be rich and thick with an expressive ability to share, willing to give data, give consent. And of course, your research site must be how the expert, accessible, simple, accepted. Yeah. And these are some research questions which is different from research quantity, more like what, who, what, and so forth. It was simple, but you need to understand the process. Pertama, kena ingat, you have to understand the phenomena. Apa yang you kena faham tentang fenomena yang nak kaji from your expert study. And you want to know the process. Itu sebab bila saya marking atau evaluate some thesis, I will go back to the basic principle of doing qualitative research, because we want to understand the phenomena. We want to translate that understanding into our reporting. If you did not understand, how come you interpret something that is unclear when you do your report? This is very important. Okay, research question, research interview. So it has some similar, and of course, you must to have all this topic, research problem, research paper, research question. I will deal with this when we come back into putting into research SOP, into statement of problem in my next series. Steps of doing it, banyaklah yang saya terangkan tadi. This more on recap. Okay, suppose kita ada sikit practices tapi tak dapat. Okay, question time. Ada question nampaknya PM Najmi? Ada soalan?
Don't have any question yet.
Okay, alright. Yeah, okay, alright. Tak ada soalan. Okay, good timing. We are past 1 hour. Okay. If there is no question, I would like to thank every single of fellow friends.
Prof, sorry. Abdullah
Saya.
here. Macam mana kita nak atur the saturated point? Abdullah, Prof.
Abdullah,
Encik
yeah.
Abdullah Muhammad.
Okay, Cik lah. Okay, macam mana nak consider saturate? Okay, Qual ada 4 prinsipal. Yang penting GALL, so I will write here, maybe you all boleh cari perkataan Qual GALL and Qual. This is always my reference Qual and Qual. Itu tak ayat saya. Qual and Qual. Okay. Sorry Cik lah. GALL and GALL. So go and find this book. Qual and Qual kata ada pertama, untuk membentuk pattern, untuk membentuk saturated point, kena ada pattern yang berulang. So, kita sendiri bila kita observe atau kita rasakan data kita tu dah sampai saturation point bila dia ada pola yang sama. Ya, so, saya observe makcik-makcik di pasar jelawat tu lah. I observe that every single time when I pass through the stall yang kuih-kuih tu, dia akan cakap, ambil tu, baru tu, manis tu. Jadi tu menjadi something that I capture. So when I went again several weeks and I found out that is their common way of welcoming us to the store. Paling tidak pun kita tak tengok, tapi bila ternampak tu kita pun tengok, oh okay. Lepas tu dia mulalah panggil macam-macam tu So number 1, recursive. Maknanya benda tu berlaku. Kedua, dia exemplify. Kalau you pergi lagi sampai dia kata, oh tak faham, kamu kata dah, kata itu. Maknanya benda tu dah berlaku. Maknanya dah ada pola. Over explain. Kemudian ketiga, dia dah tak boleh repeat lagi. Maknanya benda tu dah sampai peringkat dia boleh menyebabkan tidak ada lagi data yang terkeluar, and when you go and repeat and you proceed with a similar question, it has been exemplified and it has developed the pattern. For more further reading, cuba Cik La tengok Qual and Qual. Okay, any more? One last question.
Terima kasih, Prof.
Sama.
Prof, ada satu lagi question daripada Hifzan. I thought this, ni bolehkah saya hanya guna temu bual untuk kajian peringkat master?
Okay.
I believe jawapannya boleh lah.
Berapa orang tu? Sample size dia punya responden tu seorang. Kalau depending, kalau dia buat mixed method, maybe dia punya some portion from dia punya respond, dia punya sample tu dia perlu tarik untuk interview. Tetapi kalau master, during my master I start putting my I did my PhD baru buat Qual. I remember it will best if you have 2 techniques together, because it will help to triangulate data. Nanti kita reliability and validity tu nanti very important. Bila sampai situ kena triangulate data. Maknanya you have data from interviews techniques, you have data from observation, or maybe you have data from document. Best to have at least 2 techniques to my because using the same construct, you develop protocol for the interview, you develop protocol for observation. After you did the interview, you observe je lah. Or you have some document, mesti dia ada document, mesti ada document. Alright?
Alright.
Assalamualaikum, Prof.
Ya, silakan.
Prof, saya buat kajian peringkat master.
berkenaan
amalan pengajaran guru pendidikan Islam di kelas pendidikan khas masalah pendengaran. Okey, sebab sekarang ni sekolah tutup. Lepas tu kalau buka pun mungkin susah nak masuk sekolah untuk buat observation. Jadi saya buat interview melalui Google Meet lah.
Okey, boleh. Tapi dia ada material kan? Cikgu tu mesti ada rancangan harian dia punya RPK tu. RPK tu boleh jadi you punya notes, boleh. Okay, just minta kebenaran tapi mesti ada consent letter center, dan bila you Izan, bila you buat your reporting, jangan letak nama. You can describe your demographic profiling tu sebagai A, B, C. Jangan letak nama. Tapi dapatkan consent dia. Very important. Yeah?
Oh,
Well done. All the best to you. Come back if you want to know more. Okay?
Okay, kena triangulate jugalah temu buah dengan analisis dokumen lah ya Prof ya?
Ya, dokumen. Dia banyak RPK dia kan. Okay. Well done, well done. Good.
Prof, nak tanya satu lagi. Okay, macam ni. Triangulasi tu untuk kita sahkan data, elak bias kan Prof kan?
Ya, nanti saya cerita tentang tu dalam reliability. Kita tengok macam Maxwell ada 12, macam Merriam ada 6, macam Yin ada beberapa elemen lah ya. Macam Crashwell banyak. Okay. So we choose the best that fit into us. Okay, welcome. Okay, I have friends from Indonesia running. Mana student saya Refa from Medan ada ya? Okay, any more question before we ease our meeting today? Dosen Muhammad, are you from Gorontalo, Makassar? Thank you everyone. Kalau tak ada, ya ada
Thank
lagi.
You, Prof.
Okay.
Terima kasih Prof Suria.
Ya, sama-sama Bintang. Are you from UMS?
Saya UMK Prof.
Oh, okay.
HMPK.
Ya, HMPK Prof. Ya, Prof. Baik Prof.
Thank you Prof for the comprehension of sharing in the initial series of WWS session today. We would like to appreciate all the participants from all rest of the world. We have Dr. Wahyu from University of Bengkulu, Indonesia.
Kita tak bergambar.
We have Kyong Lee from Arizona University, Dr. Saimahan from Saudi Arabia as well. I would like to take the opportunity to invite all of you in the photo session. Kindly put on the camera.
Okay, thank you. I'm so glad to meet everyone. Maybe bila tak pandemik nanti kita boleh jumpa face to face. Okay. Take care everyone. Okay. Siapa ambil gambar? Oh, Dr. Anis, you ada.
Dr. Anis ada.
Rindu dengan you all semua. Okay. Take pictures kejap. Okay, ready? Dr. Tan, thank you. Everyone. Prof Rashdan.
Semua dah? Not yet.
Dah gambar left.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you everyone.
Thank you everyone. We meet again on
Okay, terima kasih semua. Assalamualaikum.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Prof.
Thank you, Prof Rashdan and all. Thank you, Dr. Aisyah. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Prof.
Sama-sama.
Thank you, Dr. Suria.
Yeah,
thank
welcome.
you from Malaysia.
Yeah, thank you.